Feel like I'm a survivor for some reason.
I guess I can have a false exposure here because my office is that way, and then my window is not really outside. It just seems freezing from the glass on the yeah, my daughter's school, they do fire events a month. They have a clear way, like
Certainly curiosity was capable. Oh, did it?
oh my God! Hi, sweetheart! Oh.
Yeah. I hope so.
What's up here? Just school.
We'll have at least 6. Got it. Guys, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. Thank everybody for coming out. It's a great showing. And of course, this is of interest to all of us. And we're going to start out by going through a PowerPoint. Anytime through this PowerPoint, if you got questions, this is very informal. Holler your questions out and we'll stop and we'll try to work out the questions. What we're going to show you here is the basics on what we have right now. What we're building with this PowerPoint is basically going to be our procedures for Weatherford College campus. And these procedures are not anything out of the norm. You're not going to see anything in here that hasn't already been done at other campuses. So as we go through here, if you guys have any questions, please holler and let me know, and we'll get started. Any questions before we start? That's a good sign. All right, no clicker. All right, we're through. Thank y'all.
No.
Let's Photoshop it and turn it green.
Just need to get spring time.
I was gonna say, or
We
spray.
can do it that way. I'll go down the left side.
You just spray the screen.
Yeah. I was just push the squares. You just have to. Versus squares. All right. Yeah. All right, we're going to get this thing rolling. Of course, we have, with this, we're going to tell you our objectives. Purpose of this presentation is to give campus community an overview of the Weatherford College campus carry policy. You're going to see the word policy a lot in here, but these are more procedures than policy, because policy's pretty much been written when the law was written. So we're just going to put our spin on what we want to do with this law. Just like your driver's license, you're expected, if you're going to carry a weapon on campus and you're an LTC carrier, you're expected to know the laws. That's on you guys. We're not the ones who have to hold your hand and tell you everything that's going on with this law. You're expected to know what the laws say, and we're going to go through some of that as we move on. LTC holder is not required to show his or her license unless directed by a law enforcement officer. In other words, an LTC holder up here, if anyone else asks, they can consider that harassment. So something to be aware of. If you have any issues and you think that we've got a reason to believe that you have suspicion of this person for whatever, please call us and let us talk to them and see what's going on. LTC holder may carry his or her firearm into campus buildings unless it is part of an exclusion zone. Exclusion zones are something we're going to go into a little bit later that has been identified by Weatherford College policy or state federal law. A licensed person who chooses to carry is personally responsible for any injury or damage as a result of the use of their handgun. In other words, that projectile on the end of that, it's theirs until it hits whatever it hits, and then it's still theirs. Accidental discharge of a handgun by an employee or student may be cause for disciplinary action up to including termination for employees or expulsion for students. This one here we're going to go into. I don't think we can click them, but we have them here. Common definitions. License to carry used to be the old CHL law. Now it's LTC. Formerly called concealed handgun license. A person with LTC has gone through the background check, fingerprinting, and has taken a handgun class. They must be age 21 or older and have been in the military. Handgun, type of firearm designed, made, and adapted to be fired with one hand. Gun safe must meet minimum requirements, such as it must be large enough to fully contain a firearm, have 16 gauge steel walls, and have a locking system. The one good thing about gun safes, and we're going to get in this a little bit later too, we're not going to worry about that on this campus because there's going to be nowhere to store your gun on this campus. Basically, this law says you can't do that anyway, and as we go in, you'll understand why. Holster is holder made for firearms. It must completely cover the trigger guard, and it can't be jostled loose by a bump or running into somebody. It shouldn't be falling out of your holster. But a holster has to be used, and it has to have a trigger guard, even if this gun is in your backpack. You can't just carry a gun that's not holstered anywhere on campus. That's part of the law. Basically, the few accidental discharges that have happened on some of the campus is exactly that. And that's the only things we've had right now go wrong. Kids putting it in their backpack or throwing their backpack down, and that trigger gets between it and the corner of a book or something, goes off. So that's a good law. That's why we want it there. Background for campus carry. Senate Bill 11, 84th Legislature. In 2015, they passed this law. On August 1st of 2016, this law went into effect for universities, 4-year campuses. We got a little break. We got a year to see what was going on and to see how the 4-year campuses are handling it before community colleges had to enact this law. So that was really good for us because we got that little bit of time to let all those other high-dollar lawyers figure out how to word a lot of these rules and things. Prior to this law, concealed handguns could be carried on campus grounds, but not in campus buildings. Basically, that's your castle doctrine that came out a few years ago. Your car became part of your castle, and you could carry in your car even on campus, as long as it stayed in your car and stayed concealed. Senate Bill 11 allows concealed handguns to be carried on Weatherford College campus by LTC carriers. The law says the college we must allow concealed handguns to be carried by a licensed person on our campus. The president of each university or college may make reasonable rules, and reasonable is should be underlined because the AG is really looking hard at what the campuses are doing. He doesn't want to mess with the spirit of the law. So if you make it to where 2/3 of the places on the campus you can't carry, and oh, by the way, as you're walking through the parking lot, you can't go past the sidewalk with your gun, but you can be on the other side with it, but you can't just walk across. That type of stuff. And the AG's really looking at it, and he's really knocked down a lot of the universities with some of the procedures they wanted to come out with. He said, no, you're going against the spirit of the law. So that part reasonable is really necessary, including where handguns may not be carried, as long as it does not generally prohibit or have the effect of generally prohibiting the carrying of a handgun by an LTC holder. Areas where handguns may not be carried addresses specific safety considerations that are called exclusion zones. These are outlined in where you can and can't carry, which is going to be is part of this PowerPoint. And by the way, this PowerPoint, everything we have now has to be approved by the Board of Trustees. We're hoping that's going to happen in April. We're putting this out to the community to get any kind of feedback or anything that y'all see that we might need to put in there or try to take away, which the law allows us to do. Of course, this law doesn't allow us to take away or put in a whole lot, but we want your feedback. And so that's why we're here now. This isn't the law yet for the college. This isn't our procedures. They haven't been adopted, but this is what we're working on, just so y'all know where we're going. Creating rules around campus carry. Every other year, beginning 2019, the campus will submit a report to the legislature describing our rules and explain the reasons we have each rule. Basically, they're going to be looking at the outlier rules that we have. We don't want it in this area because of this. You better have a good explanation. You better be able to articulate it to them, or they're going to say no. You're going to have to allow them to carry there. The Board of Trustees may amend or change any of our rules by a 2/3 majority vote. Campus carry across the U.S. In addition to Texas, other states, Colorado, Idaho, Kansas, Mississippi, Oregon, Yukon, Wisconsin, they all have campus carry, and some of them have had it for quite a few years. And the one thing that I can tell you is that there just hadn't been that many incidents. The day came and went, and the world didn't end, and everybody went on about their business, and it just kind of went on. Other than a few, like I said, accidental discharges, I don't think there's been a whole lot at all incidents involving licensed campus carriers. Anybody have any questions, comments? Demographics, just a little bit, some stats. Around 3 to 4% of the state of Texas population have a license to carry. And out of that 3 to 4%, the big percentage is over 40, the age of 40. So again, just to put everybody at ease a little bit, every 21-year-old we have up here is going to have a gun. I'm guessing it's going to follow the state demographics. Probably 3 to 4% of the students who can actually carry a gun are going to be, to begin with, our faculty and staff. Now that was a 2015, it's 2017 with these new laws. I'm guessing it probably went up a few percentages, but
It has.
it has.
Yes, sir.
How much?
I think they said the increase for last year, people getting CHL was maybe 4 or 5% increase.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I expected. Weatherford College's commitment, we're committed to providing a safe environment for our student, faculty, staff, and visitors. We must also respect the individual rights of those who are licensed to carry a concealed handgun. We must comply with the law while not compromising the nature of teaching and learning on the campus. So it's a fine line in there, but I think we're going to be all right. Open carry versus concealed carry. Real important thing to note, and we've had a lot of questions since this law came out last year. We can open carry on the campus, right? No. Open carry and campus carry are two different laws. They both came out in the same legislative session, so people tend to put them together. But open carry and campus carry are two separate laws. Campus carry, it has to be concealed. Has to be. You should not see someone carrying a gun. You shouldn't be visible to your eyesight. Open carry, of course, everybody knows kind of the way that we do here as officers. You have open carry in Texas now, but not on campuses. Even if you're an LTC licensed carrier, you still have to conceal on campus. There are two distinct different signs that may be displayed when the firearm is not allowed on the site. One of them's a 30, we call it 30-06, 30.06, and 30.07. 30.06 deals with open carry, basically. So you're not going to see a lot of 30.07 you're going to see on our campus. And that's basically restrictive areas where we don't want guns to be allowed. Both of them pretty much say the same thing. Concealed carry, since concealed carry is allowed at Weatherford College by LTC holders, you will see signs 30-06 posted on our campus in areas that are excluded by law or policy. 30-07 tells you it's concealed only. 30-06 tells you where you can and can't carry the weapon. Which for us, it's going to be sporting events, special events, any type of intramural, and a few other locations that we'll go across here in just a second. Just a quick little picture of concealed carry. Like you see on the right, that should be what you're doing on campus. And of course, open carry is open carry. Open carry of firearms on campus. Open carry is not allowed by Weatherford College. If you see any type of firearm on campus, please contact us. If somebody's breaking the law. So definitely contact us and let us know, and we'll deal with it from there. Where you can and can't carry, license holders are responsible for knowing where they can and cannot carry a handgun when displaying proper signage. There are certain places where carrying a handgun is prohibited by law, such as churches, synagogues, correctional facilities, courthouse, place where formal hearings are conducted, amusement park, patient care areas. Where it says places where formal hearings are conducted, that'd be our board meeting. Or if we're having any type of disciplinary hearings, we will make that what's called a temporary exclusion zone, if that makes sense. Well, that you will not be able to carry your firearm while that meeting is going on. If it is in an open carry area, we can exclude those type areas for those type of meetings. The college policies also create exclusion zones where the carry of a concealed handgun is prohibited. Our campus has a variety of facilities, meaning it's not always easy to mark where exclusion zones can or should be located. Sometimes only a portion of the building is excluded. Sometimes an area is only excluded for a small period of time while a particular activity takes place. If you choose to carry a concealed handgun on campus, please be sure to understand where the exclusion zones are. Where you can and can't carry, handguns may not be carried into any active polling place. We used to have a polling place here on campus. We used to open it up for that. We've left that in there just in case that happens again. Handguns may not be carried into any business. This gets more into the universities where you have your sporting events and stuff and they sell alcohol. Can't carry them into a bar. We don't have any bars here that I know of, and I don't want to know if we do. Here on campus where you can not carry, again, we talked about baseball, softball, basketball, special events, and we're having a event down at the Fine Arts Center, some type of theatrical play, you can't carry in those events. And what we will do for the Fine Arts Center is we'll have signage that is billboard style, that we can put out in front of that area, the auditorium area of Fine Arts before the event begins, letting people know this is a gun-free zone. It'll be a temporary gun-free zone again. The gym and the baseball and softball, they'll be permanent gun-free zones, just for the fact of, for most part, anything that happens down there is a sporting event. If it's not a sporting event, then you're going in there to put on gym clothes or to do some type of activity that's not going to allow you to carry. And if you think you're going to store it in your locker or in a bag or somewhere like that, that's illegal. Because while you're on campus and you carry it on campus, it has to be on or about you at all times. Can't store it in your desk for faculty members and staff members. You can't lock it in your drawer and lock your door. You're actually breaking the law because it's not within your reach. Where you can and can't carry again, concealed handguns are permitted in common areas such as lounges, dining areas, and study areas by LTC holders. This is on our Coyote Village. A residence licensed family member may carry in the residence room while visiting. In other words, mom and dad comes down and they have an LTC, they're visiting, they can carry. Licensed full-time staff member, which we only have one. I know she's over there somewhere. She can actually carry and store on campus. If we have anybody that lives here on campus in any type of housing, they can actually carry and store on campus. That's the only exception other than law enforcement who can actually store on campus. And that's put in there just for one person. Miss Faith. Storage of firearms, Weatherford College property. I'm just going to make this real. It's prohibited. You can't store firearms here on our property. Period. And that's I like that because number one, if you're storing it here, you're breaking the law because it's not on or about you. So that just makes things real simple. Gun safes will not be provided by Weatherford College. If Faith chooses to carry, she will have to go by the rules and regulations of the safe. 16 gauge steel, big enough to. I got two. Yes.
Well, what if it's in your purse and you leave your purse under your desk?
With
Is
it,
that on or about you?
on or about you within your eyesight, on or about. Now, it can mean a lot of things until we see some challenges in courts. I don't know. But it says you're not supposed to contort your body to have to get it. So I'm guessing if it's in a backpack, if it's in a purse, it probably should be sitting on the desk in front of you. If it's on you, then of course that's fine. But the law actually talks about contorting your body to have to get it. Now, a lot of that law has to have a lot of intent that goes with it. So we'll see how all that fleshes out. I'm thinking there'll be a few amendments and a few wording changes as this goes on. But at the end of the day, on or about you. Somewhere where you can easily reach it. Nope, I didn't.
What about graduations?
Graduations is a special event. It's a scheduled special event, so they'll be gun-free. And on top of that, we have it on high school properties.
Well, low hours.
Not yours, yes, but yours will be because it's a scheduled special event.
There will be a temporary sign up?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and feel free to communicate that with with the people graduating. Tell them up front. Say, hey, if your family, everything has an LTC, tell them they can't bring it. Just make sure that's known. Even when you do invitations or whatever, you might put a little disclaimer piece of paper in there saying, hey, by the way,
That's a good idea.
don't bring your gun.
You said earlier that storage is prohibited, but there was another law saying that if it was in your car and concealed, it's okay?
We're fixing to get there.
Okay.
We're fixing to get there, and you're exactly right. That goes back to Castle Doctrine. We'll get there in just a minute, if that's all right.
No, that's fine, yeah.
Okay, and then when you had questions after that, holler at me.
Okay.
Shannon?
Oh, mine was the same.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, seat number 30. Storing handguns, personal gun safes. Again, this only applies to Faith, to contain with 16 gauge steels and operating locking system. Right now it does. We do have one other person that lives on the farm, so it will not just be Faith. Where you can and can't carry. So occupancy office owner may choose to prohibit the concealed carry of a handgun in their office. However, the office space must be assigned to only one person and not shared, not be generally open to the public, and posting must be followed by office occupant as well. In other words, if you're going to make your office a gun-free zone, it has to meet these requirements. And if you're going to do it, it's up to you to post your sign on the window or whatever. You don't have to even post a sign. Actually, you don't have to do that. For faculty, you can put it in your, syllabi beginning of the year and tell them personally. We do require oral of telling the people, hey, orally, you have to tell them, my office is a gun-free zone. If they want to meet you, then you have to find somewhere else to meet them. And also, if you make your office a gun-free zone, that's for you too. So, something to remember.
So clarify what you mean orally, saying that, say, you teach an online course and that you do meet the students for once in a while in your office. So that statement needs to be in the classroom in some way, like verbally recorded.
Not recorded verbally. You have to make an attempt to orally tell these people. And by the way, that's not law. That's going to be something that's going to be part of our procedures. So a student's not breaking the law if they actually walk in there. Now they may meet some type of punishment as far as here on campus administratively, but they haven't broken the law.
I'm interested in what I need to tell like other instructors, what they might want to put in their online classrooms if they prefer to have a gun-free zone in their office.
Basically in the syllabi is the best place to put it. And if they're coming to class, shoot out that email to them or whatever, however you can connect with them on those online classes. But verbally, it will have to be told to them also.
But you all are going to require them, if their office is gun-free, they will have to meet us somewhere else if they want to meet with us in New York here. Okay? They're not just going to say, oh, well, tough then.
They can find another area to meet with you. Yes, and that's coming up actually. Yes, the definition of a sole occupant office is a room with at least one door and walls that extend to the ceiling. That is assigned to a single person as his or her workspace.
So if you have two doors, you can't do it?
Oh, you can, because it's still assigned to you at least one door. You can.
I'm free, just tell you all right
Where you can and can't carry. If the office occupant chooses to prohibit concealed handguns, the occupant must provide oral notice that handguns are prohibited in that office. Make reasonable arrangements to meet people in another location at a convenient time. You may not ask if the person is carrying. And we say that a few times in here. The only person that can ask if they're carrying are police officers. So always remember that. And again, if you know you're going to meet with your instructor, it's also some responsibility of the LTC holder to make sure that they've got time enough in between classes or whatever to go put that weapon up. They make reasonable arrangements to meet you somewhere else. So, you can't really push that issue, because it's still up to you to make reasonable effort to not carry that weapon into that office.
I'm really distrusting if you say your office is gun-free to say whether or not that student has a gun, since it's concealed anyway when they walk in the office, because I can't say.
It's pretty much honor basis, yes. Because that person's doing the right thing, you're never going to know anyway. So, yeah. But if they're LTC carries and they're abiding the law, then there's a good chance they're going to abide our rules too.
And if it becomes visible while they're in your office, how would you suggest handling that?
That you can call us. A lot of that goes to intent. If I'm sitting down or if I drop something, walk in your office, and I bend over and you see the bottom half of my gun, there's not any intent there. Now, if it becomes visible because they're talking to you about a grade they're upset about, that's an issue. You know, but you have to look at the intent. You know, was it on purpose, or was it just somebody who tripped and fell and all of a sudden the gun's showing? Or somebody who reached up to a top shelf and you start seeing pieces of the gun. All that can be addressed, definitely administratively. But with the law, of course, we have to prove intent. And so some of that wouldn't be breaking the law, but it could be a rule broken for the students or faculty or staff. Specific information for licensed to carry holders. If you choose to carry a concealed handgun on campus, you're responsible for knowing where it can and cannot be carried. We put this in there a few times, hoping that, you know, the 3-time rule. You see it 3 times, you understand. Employees who do not follow Weatherford College policy are subject to discipline. Students who do not follow are subject to discipline. Accidental discharge of firearm is cause for discipline up to and including termination or expulsion for students. All pretty basic common sense stuff. On or about your person, we talked about this a little bit earlier. If you choose to carry a concealed handgun on campus, it must be on or about your person, meaning the handgun must be close enough to you that you can grasp it without materially changing position. And again, that's, you know, you can debate that for a long time is exactly what they're saying. But basically, if your purse is here and you're here talking, and that's not to me materially changing position. Materially changing position is having to come over here because you've put that much distance between you and your weapon. That might be the issue there. And again, this is part of what the law, this is how the law has put it. This isn't our policy. So we'll see. Most of it, again, will go to intent also, you know, negligence. For example, if you carry your handgun in a backpack, the backpack must always remain close to you within immediate reach so you can grasp it without materially changing position. Consider your day, something that, you know, we kind of hit on a while ago. If you're bringing your gun to campus, consider what you're doing that day. You know, are you going to be, is half your day going to be spent at a special event and half your day going to be spent in gymnastics or on the stage or changing clothes for different things, you know, whatever you're doing. You need to consider that and consider, is it really logical for me to carry that weapon today? You can definitely carry it, but if you go where it's prohibited, of course, you break the law, but make sure you have time to get to and from your car. You can store your weapon in your car.
What about off-campus activities?
Off-campus campus activities.
Say Trio, he takes some students to campus tours.
Okay.
Or if
You're driving a college vehicle, you can't have a weapon. Right. If you're driving a college vehicle to that, if people are meeting you there with what a lot Trio does and a lot of what you guys do, if you're going to another campus, ISD somewhere, then no, because they can't carry it into that ISD anyway. So we're going to have to look at that as they come up and decide yes or no. But the law is going to be, if you're going in a college vehicle, you can't have a weapon. So, yes.
I teach in a functional anatomy class, and my students have a lab attire, a bathing suit top and shorts, where they are studying and palpating and doing physical examinations and tests on each other in class.
Mm-hmm.
Does my policy, I don't want to change the intent of the law for somebody to carry, but
Right.
there's not enough space, 2 people don't live, for them to hold a backpack.
Right. And we went, I don't know if I've gotten there yet, but we've talked about that, and it's probably the next slide. Let me get to the next slide and let's see. And we're talking about kind of the same thing, or I'm hearing what I think I'm hearing. Will you be participating in a class like theater or dance that requires role playing, rolling, spinning, or contact with other students? No, you should not be carrying during those type of classes. because it's,
So if they don't carry, I mean, obviously backpacks would be over on this part of the room, they're gonna be in this part of the room, so is that mean
they have to take it back to their car if they're coming into that class or not bringing it all that day. You know, that's up to them though. That's not our responsibility, that's their responsibility to make sure that happens. Go back to the licensed driver. They need to know that. Well, you need to go into an area where guns are not allowed, such as gym, sporting facility, or other clinical locations. Clinical locations, we know that, you know, you're not gonna carry one into any of the hospitals where some of our programs go, or healthcare, or elderly care, any of that, not allowed. Any questions? Let's hurry. I like after lunch.
Paul, you just said you can't tell them that, but we sort of do have to tell them that in our syllabus, or like.
Can't tell them what?
I thought you said, well, that if they're coming into your lab area and they only have a bra and shorts, you have to take it back to their car, but you.
No, I'm saying that's not your responsibility. They should know after they read our policy and the law that they can't do that. Now.
They can't conceal it, so they can't.
Yeah.
It's their responsibility.
But it,
Yeah, and conceal means on or about them or within reach, and with like what she was talking about, those type of situations, it's not going to be on or about you or within reach, so it's their responsibility to do that. Now, you can tell them, you can definitely tell them, hey, we got this activity coming up. You know, if you're an LTC carrier, today's not the day you need to be carrying. So.
and a college vehicle is a no-carry zone?
Yes. Yes, any college vehicle. Know the exclusion zones. If you will need to go into an area where guns are not allowed and engage into an activity that makes concealed carry impossible, consider not carrying that day. Or make sure you're going to have the ability to get to your vehicle and put it up and back to that next class that you can't carry in.
So the gymnasium and the ball fields, does that include the clubhouses and the office spaces in the gymnasium?
No, just where
Just where
what's
the
open
event
to
is
public.
occurring.
Yes. And as far as the clubhouses and stuff, again, that's just gonna go back to common sense. You're not gonna carry it while you're out there playing a baseball
Right,
game.
right.
And you gotta have it on or about you, so it's just off limits.
Right.
Uh,
Well, I'm just thinking, you know, there's offices in the
Right.
clubhouse as well that they could go into.
Right.
Can't leave it in there.
They can't
Right.
leave it in.
No,
there.
no, understand that
Yeah.
entirely.
Additional resources and videos, campus carry policy, CHF local, CHF local has come out, and we actually have that, right? Is it posted yet? Not yet? Oh, local, I'm sorry, legal. CHF legal is out and posted. And CHF legal is gonna be a whole lot, now correct me if I'm wrong, Rolinda, it's gonna be a whole lot like the local that they come out with, TASB comes out with, is gonna look a lot like legal.
Right.
It's just gonna give us, tell us that we've got to do what we're doing right now, and put into place what we need to put into place. Campus carry website, including frequently asked questions. This is a site that we're gonna be putting up pending board approval in April. This PowerPoint will be there, and also at the end of it, we're going to have a active shooter video that, you know, if you have time sometime to show it to the kids or tell them it's there if they want to go watch it. Just a little active shooter training video that's going to go with it. I really hope to talk to a lot of the LTC carriers. We talked about this a little bit. Maybe the first semester we're going to offer some time to do a forum, something like this, with LTC carriers to talk to them about police concerns, especially when it comes to emergency events, active shooters. You know, the last thing any of my guys want to do is run up on campus because there's an active shooter and 5 people are carrying guns. And 4 of them's the good guys trying to help out the police officers, you know, but we're not going to know that.
Are they gonna register with the police
No.
department in any way?
No, no registration whatsoever.
What about, you mentioned the gym, what about the weight room, is that?
No.
Okay.
No.
So just the offices?
And that would be the employee officers.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything else? We good?
At the end, we're gonna be.
No, go ahead, ask.
You know, like an academic support center, I saw up there that it says study centers are not exempt. So even though we have dual credit, sometimes we have students that bring their children in there a lot, you know, if they don't have a babysitter, so that
They need to be aware, just like where they would take their children anywhere else
so there's
in
just no
Texas.
exemptions. I know the testing
Right.
center will be.
Testing center will be exempt.
It is.
Yes. Because you have to empty, well, the big deal with that, and I'm right? You have to empty your pockets. You have to take everything out. Well, you can't put that gun in a locker. You can't leave it there while you go take the test. So, yes. Except for police officers who are coming in to test. Additional resources and videos. Again, we're going to put this up. Coyote Village housing policies and contracts are going to explain to them very clearly where they can and can't carry. And we always talk to Coyote Village, do a few beginning of the semester talks with them, so we'll definitely make them well aware of all that. Weatherford College disciplinary policies for faculty, staff, and students. That's coming upon board approval and after HASB gets their policy out. I'm not behind this time for the first time. Weatherford College Student Handbook, Weatherford College Employee Handbook. Questions, of course, can be directed to us at any time. This is the video that you'll be able to link to off of this PowerPoint.
It's up right now.
Is it up now?
Double click.
Okay. We won't play it
No.
because it takes a while, but it's up.
6 minutes.
And we'll be able to do that. Questions about the policy? Again, holler at us. Yes, ma'am.
Is this only for this campus, or does it also include
It will include
the
every
satellite?
campus.
So even Granbury campus and the Mineral Wells?
Yes. Yes. And Granbury Special, because we lease that from the ISD. But as long as we have a lease, we pretty much own the building while
I
we
was
have
gonna
that
say, 'cause
lease.
there's that back alley on the east doors that is pitch black, and they
Mhm.
let us out of class, and there's barely lighting in that parking lot,
Right.
so.
Make sure you're carrying.
Huh? It made a point that a lot of girls, we would go in 5 or 6 groups, so that we knew, because there's been the murders, and Granbury's not as safe as it used to be. And no matter how many times we told Granbury ISD, hey, can you replace those lights, they just told us, not our problem.
Yeah.
Carry flashlights, thanks to do that.
We just really
If
started
you
doing
have a
it.
problem with light, come talk to me.
I've gone to the people at the desk
No,
and told them
Come
before.
talk to me. Okay, it'll get
Hopefully
done.
I don't have to go to the campus anymore,
No.
so.
All right, no, always
Yes, I was
talk to
gonna
me
say-
because those lights get filled.
Any other comments, questions?
What other exclusions, you said testing center wasn't on there, so we've got the, obviously in place for sports, the testing center is full exclusion.
Right. And, of course, individual offices will be hit and miss depending on the instructors. And
Places for hearings, special
Yeah.
event.
special events, any places for hearings. And we will handle, I know we have disciplinary hearings and different things like that. We'll handle that with the signage. Basically, if it's going to be there that day, before the hearing, we'll go out and put the sign out, tell them you can't pass this point with a weapon.
HR.
What if it's a receptionist's area that has floors, and there's one receptionist in there and a desk, and it's surrounded by doors, but you have to go into the receptionist to go to other offices?
That receptionist area is considered public space. So, yes, they can carry into that receptionist area. Now, if you have an individual office with walls that go to the ceiling, not a cubicle, and you choose behind that receptionist desk not to let anybody carry in your office, you can do that. Yes, go ahead.
They, like if an instructor has their offices, no guns allowed, they have to inform the person, they can say, oh, well, I don't want guns in here, just in case you are.
Correct.
And, whatever, like if they want.
Correct. Yeah. Is there a question
And
there?
at that point, they're required to leave, right? Like if they
They should never make it to the door if they were told beforehand like they're supposed to be.
Okay.
This actually kind of piggybacks off that. If instructors are going to be required to let their students know in the syllabus, how will that apply to other employees? How will they notify those other employees? What would be the best method for that?
It's a good question. I'm not sure, because the instructor does not have to put up a sign at all.
Right.
As a matter of fact, some of this that we went off of was UT's policies, and that's some of their policy. And they kind of sound like to me discourage any type of signage, you know, make sure you just put it up in your syllabus, make sure you tell them orally. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
We'll keep that around.
Yeah.
I guess, student club meetings,
Mm-hmm.
that would be, like in a DOS room, they would be allowed to carry being in there, correct?
Is it a formal meeting? And basically, is it something where some type of action is going to be taken as far as disciplinary?
Some of them are. Some of them
Well,
may be, yeah.
well, if it's a disciplinary hearing and that's what it's for, then no, you can exclude it for those type of reasons.
Okay. In a counseling session, that would be the same thing? So-
Counselors definitely have the right to exclude from their offices. Right?
Say a certain area that's not a public area behind closed doors, if everybody in that, including cubicles, if everybody in that area chooses to have a no gun, would we be able to make that entire area a
No gun?
Even though it's a mall?
I don't know. Well,
I'm saying
yeah.
we're for our side.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff that you are asking, I don't know there's a right or wrong answer at all right now. But by the time, this year, it's a new session, of course, they're not gonna see a lot of challenges and stuff this year. Come 2019, I expect to see some amendments, and those challenges make it to the law, and make it to where some of the wording is more clear. That's usually what happens with the new law. Yes, ma'am?
I'm kind of confused about that whole orally we can deny someone entrance. So hypothetically, if I carry and the tech people say I can't go in, do I just stand at the door and go, could you come out in the hallway and check my computer, and somebody has to?
Well, and that's kind of what we told them. I don't know. I don't know that's going to be possible, because we're not talking about anything other than individual offices.
But it's the same like with students and instructors. Even if I as an instructor hypothetically goes, you can't bring your gun in, and I tell them orally, do they then just stand out in the common area of our bay and say, well, come out here? I mean, I don't get the purpose.
Right. Well, hopefully during a class or after a class, before a class, they're going to say, hey, I need to meet with you. I know you don't. I'm an LTC carrier. Where can we meet? Or hopefully they go, hey, I know she don't allow weapons. Hey, if you're going to be in your office the next 10 minutes, I'm going to run to my car and take care of my weapon and come back and talk to you.
So is the purpose of the denial just to give us a sense of control, or is it to make it harder for them? I don't understand.
Well, actually, it's definitely to give you control over your office area. Definitely.
I still have to go meet somebody who might be disgruntled with a weapon.
But you can do that in a place where weapons are allowed, which might mean one of our offices.
Or they still have to come meet their stressed out instructor who may be carrying too.
Exactly. Yeah, it can go both ways. But you know, a place, something like that, when they say a place to carry, you know, I'll be glad to open up some of our office space down there. Some of our guys aren't here some of them aren't here during the day, some of them aren't here during the night. And we'll be more than happy to have that happen. And we just might be right next door doing our paperwork. And we've kind of always done that anyway. But
So if you're in an exclusion zone, you're still not allowed to ask them if they're carrying?
no.
You're
No matter where you're
technically not
at, you
supposed to
can't
ask
ask.
them, period. They do not have to answer that question unless you're law enforcement anywhere.
There you go.
That's actually another good one.
When you're taking your bag, putting your bag in.
If the testing center is the exclusion zone, with the justification for that
If they're
exclusion
good
zone
CHL
is you have to empty your
carriers,
pockets.
You're not gonna
How does
notice
that apply to
that
employees?
A lot of
They
CHL
don't have to
carriers
empty
aren't
their
gonna
pockets
put
when
it
they
in
go to that
first,
area.
aren't gonna put
Does that still hold true?
The front desk
It's
is
stupid to do that.
public. Past that front desk is private. So if you're walking in to ask about a test, you can have your weapon on you. If you're going in to take a test where you have to take everything off, you cannot.
And are you gonna get back to us then about non-instructional employees who may have a private office and want to exclude?
Yes.
Get back to us.
I believe that's, the way we've written it is, it's faculty and staff. with a private office.
Right, but then you don't have a syllabus where you say.
Right, for the staff, correct. Yeah.
One of the things they did say about the syllabus is the fact that you will have people joining your classes after the first day, that the verbal part is very mandatory for those type of people, because if I didn't get there the first week, but I joined your class later, and I wasn't part of that first part, that the verbal part was really, really important, and we got that from every college we talked to, because that has already been challenged.
Right, but if you're not an instructor, so you're not, you're excluding other people, not just your students.
Right.
And then you wanted to say, you know, I don't want other employees carrying in my office or whatever.
Right, and I don't know of a whole lot of instances where we have that. I'm sure there's some, I know there's some, but it's gonna deal with very few people, but yeah, we'll have to, I don't know.
Would they be able to say, like, if her office was a gun-free zone,
Mm-hmm.
which an IT guy would be able to tell her, hey,
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I am armed. You called me here, can I please come in and do this?
No.
And make an exception for that person?
No,
No. No one said.
if it's gun-free, it's gun-free.
Now, what they have rooms that Dean Indy and Dean Finley have talked about, that they may make some exclusionary zone rooms. They have a couple that they've been talking about where they're gonna make it where she can go to that room, but there's no exceptions.
But when it comes to, and I know where you're going.
Yeah, I mean,
and I know where you
that's
guys
why I'm
are.
asking these questions.
Yeah, when it comes to staff,
us.
that's just some bridges we're gonna have to
One way or
cross.
another.
Honestly, I don't have a good answer for you right now. But I do know if someone's made their office area exclusionary, the gun can't go in there.
I was under the impression that you had to have signage if you were excluding your area.
Well, no, that's law. We would still be violating campus procedure.
No, law does not have anything to do with
Right.
individuals choosing whether to have or have it
Exactly.
in their office.
Exactly. It's
Uh,
not
there's
illegal,
no
but it is
law at
against
all.
policy.
You won't be legally responsible, just the college is gonna get out.
Yeah.
I would think that it probably wouldn't take long for faculty and staff to know who
Yeah,
has rooms that can carry and can't carry. I mean, not that you have to have a sign up there, but, you know,
It's just the oral
Word of
format
mouth.
that presents the complication, because then how do you notify your colleagues that?
right.
yeah. And how did,
We will find that balance eventually.
Yeah,
but I
we
don't want
will.
somebody to get terminated because we hadn't found that
I would,
balance yet.
and again, I think that goes back to intent.
Sure.
You know, what
Oh, no.
was the intent?
I don't think, I didn't read anything in the laws, y'all might have, that says you don't have to post it.
Right.
It just says you, I mean,
You
that
may.
can't, you may post your,
Yeah.
but if you want to put a sign, go ahead.
Yeah, we're not saying, we're not discouraging it,
Yeah.
but, you know,
That's also telling everybody you don't have a gun in there too. So,
It's related to this, because you're saying it's UT, and UT discourages that kind of signage, so you know.
well, I just use that as an example. A lot of them are doing it, but
Yeah.
we studied a lot of them. That was just an
Yeah.
example. I'm sorry,
I
go
know,
ahead.
well, because they were one campus that was very, very local.
Yes.
In fact, you had some faculty members that went so far as, I'm going to hold my office hours in a bar off campus.
Yes.
So people could not bring a gun in because it's a bar. To me, that seemed a little bit seedy if you're gonna meet with a freshman and then
There's
a bar, so that's screen time.
another reason they want to do that.
Yeah, so, I'm just kind of curious, since they were a campus that they had a lot of very vocal anti-campus carry, where they were coming from with discouraging individuals posting their office as a gun-free zone.
the officers
I'm
I
just
talked
curious if
to,
you were-
Yeah.
the officers I talked to at the different campuses, and I talked to a whole bunch of them as well as the chief, the instructors did not want to post it because they didn't want everybody knowing, I don't have a gun. They wanted to be the surprise, you know, if you come in here and start something, you don't know if I'm gonna shoot you or not. And that was the reason that they allowed them to, you make the choice. And a lot of them made that choice strictly, so I didn't know you weren't carrying. But those that wanted to post it, they said, go ahead. But you're also telling everybody you don't have a gun.
You're also
Because
kind
they-
of verbally telling already that you don't want
Right.
them in there, so you've already done
Yeah.
that.
And so,
Along the same lines, in terms of rules of engagement, is anyone at the college going to create some set of rules of engagement when it is or is not okay? I mean, obviously, if it's an active shooter.
To actually engage in
Other
a-
than that, I mean,
In a lethal force situation?
Someone's angry, screaming, and goes quickly for a backpack, within my right to then be touching my weapon?
That's
I mean,
up-
where does
that's-
that go back to?
That's up to 12 jurors.
Yeah, I think it's based
that's
on
your
the law.
training that you're gonna receive, and the
Right.
law that, but you cannot use deadly force or exhibit deadly force unless you feel that your life or someone else is in immediate danger. If you can articulate that to 12 people and convince them all, you're good to go. But that's the same thing we have to do as well. So if somebody pulls a gun out of their backpack, it's out for one
I'm
reason.
thinking preemptive strike.
Right.
Not shooting,
I
but,
think it's
you
just
know,
based on the
being
law.
prepared in case someone does come
Yeah.
out, not with their cell phone or a pencil that's.
No, I understand, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's case by case scenario, and that's, we report what we find out about those type of cases to district attorney, and they handle it from there.
Chief, I walked in a little bit late, so I apologize if you already went over this, but what is the age that they can carry? Is it
21.
It is 21, okay.
You have to be 21. A few exceptions with military, but you have to be 21.
And there are some states that you can get a concealed carry under 21, but it does not apply in Texas. If you're from Colorado and you can carry at 18, you're in violation of law on campuses. You can carry it reciprocity-wise up and down the highway, but you can't on campuses. You have to be 21.
Hey, Paul, at the UT conference I went to, a presentation last week, they had an issue where anytime there's a pre-K through 12 event on a campus, it excludes guns. And, you know, and I was thinking about Wise County on STEM Day, will we have something?
That's a special event.
That's a special event that roams the whole campus. So, again, and I know what UT did, because I looked at that. UT wanted to avoid you can't go around in front of these kids with a sign saying you can't carry when somebody's carrying in this room next to them, because they're allowed to. So, again, that's, I don't know if you can make it exclusionary for the whole area for 24 hours. Now, you can make it exclusionary if they were all in the Fine Arts Center and contained.
That's what I mean.
Right, yes.
For the event.
Right, for the event, you can.
Right.
But like STEM Mania, you know, like here, it would be impossible to keep that exclusionary going with the students. And honestly, in Parker County, if you've got a lot of ISDs coming up here, there's probably one or two of them teachers already carrying. Because there's a lot of marshals in the ISDs now. So.
Like I said, we have a lot of hospitals coming up here too, tourists.
Right, and you can't, you know, if you got 5 kids coming up here and they're touring the campus for that reason, you can't make them put a bubble around them. It's just, there's no way of doing that.
But it's not like, also, it's not like they'd be seeing the gun anyway, so they wouldn't, like, it's not like you're gonna score a kid by them seeing the gun. You know, it's like, you won't see it anyway.
And again, at the end of the day, if the law-abiding citizen is carrying their weapon the way they're trained to and doing what the law tells them, you're never gonna know they have it anyway, or you shouldn't.
And I think that's kind of, because I'm not quite 21 yet, but I plan to get my CHL, or what's it called, the LTC.
Yes.
And I think my biggest thing, like, I know a lot of people are like super against campus carry and that they're scared. And I think they just have to understand that, like, the people that get these LTCs are being trained. They're going through, you know, training and practicing and shooting, and they're gonna know, like, they know the rules. Like, if they end up getting their gun, they've gone through so much, and it's not like you can just go buy your gun real quick. You know, anyone can buy the gun. You have to go through so much training. And I think that generally the people that get these guns are there to protect themselves, to protect their classmates. And I don't think most of the people that are getting these guns are getting them for, like, malicious reasons.
No, and I agree. I agree with you 100%. That's a good statement, because one thing that I tell a lot of people, don't worry about that law-abiding citizen who's concealing their gun and carrying because they can. Worry about that one with it in their hand and they're walking up and down the aisle shooting people. You know, don't worry about that person, worry about that one. And that's not going to change. Those random acts of violence nothing's going to change. This law is not going to make or take away from those type of acts.
And if you're gonna have a gun-free office, then you're gonna want the kids that do have guns, that when an active shooter starts happening, at least there are people there that have guns, you know? It's like, if your office is a gun-free zone, well then
Maybe.
the kid has a gun and the active shooter's, because that kid's gonna be in charge of helping you out because they don't have a gun.
Maybe. How much training does that kid have? But that's another story. Okay, anybody else? Any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any plans to increase our camera presence on campus?
Yes, actually, we're working on some areas right now. So yes, hopefully, the last couple of years we've added a little more and a little more.
We need more.
And that,
We need more.
yes, I agree. Those cameras have been wonderful for us. I mean,
Will the parking lot be somewhere where it's covered?
hopefully, yes.
Probably last, but.
Anybody needs to put cameras in their budget for their areas, holler at me.
Yeah, if you can get it through, that'd be great. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
I would just really kind of agree with what she was saying. It seems like if you're gonna put that on your syllabus or put a sign, it seems like you're really just creating undue friction. And people who are gonna obey the law are still gonna obey the law, and people who aren't.
Well, one way or another, you're gonna have undue friction. Hopefully, everybody's gonna be adult enough to respect everybody else in those type of situations.
You can choose not to carry a gun yourself while still.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Y'all know how y'all are gonna handle situations if someone has it concealed, or like you were saying, reaches up to the top shelf, someone freaks out, go, oh my gosh, I saw the bottom of their holster.
Again, as far as the law enforcement end of that, we'll investigate it fully to see if there was any intent or what was going on. And then it'll be passed on to administration, and I don't handle that end of the situation. So.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it illegal to carry a holster and not have a firearm in it?
No, not at all.
Okay. Because I have terrible nightmares.
Not at all. I don't know.
You just
Yeah.
wanna look cool.
Anybody else?
It's not like that. Could you explain some of it about, because we have a lot of students walking around with knives. This is not dealing with guns, but what is the knife size?
Student handbook, I believe the law says 6 inches. Now, depending on what county you're in, 6 inches could be opened, the complete from the bottom of the knife to the top, or it could just be the blade. So.
For Parker County, it's the blade, right?
Parker County is the blade, or that's last time we've done anything with that.
Does this license have to be renewed annually, or is it good for life?
LTC license, is it 1 or 2 years?
5 years.
5 years. 5 years now? There you go, every 5 years. I can have it 5 years.
The license.
The license. This law will be, again, it's a new law. I fully expect to see some different wording come out in 2019 and the years to follow that, the sessions to follow that. I'm sure it's going to start getting a few amendments and things, make it a little clearer on some of it, but right now it is what it is, and that's what we're going to work with. Anything else? Anybody
I
else?
just want to make a statement, and to make some people feel a little better, they have extended the classes for CHL from 1 day. It's now a 2 or 3 day class. So some people should feel a little better about that.
And if you're going to take one of those classes, tell them to spend some time on campus carry, because that's new to them also, and I think they're just now getting into some of that. All right. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Have a good day.